But thank you so much for having me, Liam. Thank you for all the staff. I was feeling like Rami. I just winged in from work like, half an hour ago, and I'm here to do a talk, and then I have to go and produce Unite, so hopefully some of you will be there tomorrow. All right. Oh yes, good. All right, so I'm here to talk about some tips and tricks towards getting jobs. Some do's, some don'ts. And so again, that's my Twitter handle down the bottom if you can see it. You can tweet me questions, you can keep in touch with me that way. Be really happy to have a conversation with you. Final Fantasy is up there because the job system is my favorite. So I'm very witty and adorable like that. Okay, so this is me, worked with a whole bunch of people. I'm here because we help a lot of our clients when they are looking to hire, and I have an HR background, so that's why I'm talking. We work with Crossy Road, we work with Shooty Skies, we work with Melbourne International Games Week itself, we work with Unity, we work with a lot of different people. So, cover letters, they are important. I don't consider them optional. If I'm putting together a job listing, you must have a cover letter, you must have a resume. If it's a creative role, I want to see a portfolio as well. If it's a technical role, I also want to see a portfolio. But a cover letter is the self-introduction. Some people will consider the email that you send me to be the cover letter. My preference is to have a separate PDF cover letter. The reason I like that is that it's very easy for me to collate and then circulate to my client for them to make some picks. Number one priority, show that you're an opportunity. Don't be super modest, don't be super arrogant. Practice this balance. But you need to show me very quickly that you're an opportunity and that I need to grab you while you're available. Give me a sense of urgency, give me a sense that you are extremely excited, give me a sense that you're perfect for the role. Reinforce why you are a great fit for it. So that means actually talk about the company's name, actually talk about the company's values, show me why your temperament, your personality, your experience makes you a really good fit for that. Show you relate to the values, did that. Oh, I'm so good at this. So PDF format with easy to store file name. Do not send me a .doc, please. Send me a PDF, because sometimes I'll have to send it to Mac users. PDF's good for everything. And by file name, if I've put up a role for, let's say, a production coordinator, don't just call it production coordinator application. Please call it your name, production coordinator position, because I'm going to download a lot of them, and I'm going to print a lot of them, and I'm going to email a lot of them, and I might lose sense of who you are. So don't be like the 5th file name that's just the same thing. In your cover letter, oh my gosh, don't say sir, please. Do not make any assumption unless you know the person that you are applying to and you know that they're the head of recruitment or they're going to be the managing supervisor. You can say, hey, studio name team, or you can say to whom it may concern. That's a bit formal. Do not just call it sir. Oh my gosh, happens all the time. Resumes / CV. I use resumes. CV is similar. Somebody's going to fight me on that, but that's okay. Readability is important. Do not make it like beautiful and cursive and complicated and 5 fonts or anything like that. Just Arial, Times New Roman, Calibri, maybe a bit of Proxima Nova if you're feeling fancy, but that's it. Like, don't get too complicated. Typos and grammar, that's an easy fix. Don't lose points by missing that. Basically, with the roles we hire for, written and verbal communication is going to be on that list of attributes that you need. So please read it multiple times. Even if it's like, oh my God, it's like 12 p.m. midnight, they wanted me to email it by this time, I don't have time to do this, I'm just going to poop it out and send it. Please just read it over again. Please just spell check it. Maybe send it to someone else, get them to have a check. Otherwise, for me, it shows you might miss some stuff. For me, and this is reinforced by the recruiters that I've worked with, you've got to have a minimum of 3 references. Quick sidebar, you can take photos of anything I'm doing, you can post anything on Twitter, whatever, steal my knowledge, share it, this is fine. So you need references. So that means not just, I've had 3 jobs, and here they are, and it doesn't mean here's names of 3 people I worked for and that's it. I'm going to need their name. I'd probably like to know their position or how you worked with them. I definitely want their email, and I definitely want a mobile number for them. and maybe also a phone. Like, I need to have a way to do my due diligence, because you might look awesome on paper, but I need to talk to someone that's worked with you. And I'll go more into this, but your temperament and your personality is actually going to be a huge part of the job interview that we have together. And if somebody doesn't hire you for a role, and if you get a sense that maybe it's because you're not a fit in terms of personality, temperament, experience, or a big mix, that's not personal, that's business. Like, people are looking to add something to their team. Sometimes they're like, okay, cool, we're a whole bunch of introverts, we really need an extrovert to like drag us up a little bit. And that might be a part of the hiring decision. Or someone might be like, we've actually got 5 huge personalities and I don't want more. That's also okay. That's a personal decision for the company. They may or may not talk to you about that, but basically, you know, you're not a horrible person if your personality means you're not a fit for a workplace, but it is going to be part of it. Please don't fake your personality. That's a bad idea, because you might get the role and then your personality will come out. None of us are as good an actor as that to maintain that for a year, 2 years, 5 years. So please be upfront about what your personality is, or what you value, what's important to you, what makes you happy, or what really annoys you. But we'll go into those questions more. So references, I've got to have it. Don't make me ask. Like, that sounds so mean, but really don't. Because if I get an application and you don't have emails or you don't have mobile numbers for your references, and I've got to email you back to ask for those, I might have had an awesome job interview in the meantime, and I might not wait for you to get back to me. That's mean, but we're all really, really time poor. So give me everything I need to make a decision on whether or not I'm going to pull you in for an interview. And I will call your references. Please don't fake them. Oh my gosh, it definitely happens. So, list your key skills, personal and professional. So, you know, you talk about amazing written and verbal communication or otherwise, but also I have CPR and I have this qualification and I've run an event before. Like, just be really upfront about key skills, not just place, job, as in title, but actually give me a list of your key responsibilities, give me a list of your key skills. So I'm looking for what makes you successful. I want to get a sense that adding you to my team will help my client be successful or will help me be successful. So make that a big part of the narrative when you're talking to me, whether it's through your application or if we're having a conversation. Get feedback from family and friends first. That can be really embarrassing and uncomfortable. Like, please have a look at this. It's a portrait of me. Tell me if it's good. Like, that is confronting and that is hard to do, but getting an amazing job, getting a job that is a fit for you is actually has such a bearing on your happiness in so many ways. It's right, and you deserve to do a lot of checking to give yourself the best chance possible. So run it by family and friends that will give you honest feedback. Interviews. One thing in general, interviews get easier. Practicing them is awesome. So if you're going for a lot of job interviews and they're not going anywhere, that totally sucks, but that is also totally awesome because you can't buy that experience. Like, I've been to so many job interviews because I tried to get into all sorts of different programs. A whole lot of them, that went really badly. I did not get those roles. I did not get into those programs. But then when there was that dream job, I totally smashed it because I'd practiced. So if you do a job interview and it's unsuccessful, that does suck, but that is also awesome. And that's what we mean when we say, thank you for the opportunity, because it is one. Interviews. Oh my gosh, please don't be late. Please don't be late. Also, don't be super early. So I'm not asking you to be perfect, but please don't be late. If you are going to be late because something's happened and I understand that, you should have an email, hopefully a number, hopefully a mobile number for the person you were supposed to interview with. Give them a heads up and apologize as soon as you can. But also, don't be early. If you were early, that's awesome. Go for a walk. Do a power pose. You know how people talk about power poses? They're good. They're good. Go to a bathroom and do a power pose. Breathe. Feel good about yourself. Be excited. Go over your resume. Practice handshaking with a stranger. Whatever you want to do, kill that time. Don't show up at my office half an hour early. Because I schedule my life down in 10-minute blocks. Like, you can just ask Meg. We're all super busy, so is everyone, and we expect you to be there on that time that we mutually agreed. So if you're early, that's awesome. It means you won't be late, but just like walk around the block. Just like walk it off, walk it off. Do a monologue, do whatever you need to relax a little. Okay, so you've come at the perfect time, and you've greeted me, and you've smiled. It's been really nice. I think your outfit's cool. Everything's going really well. We have sat down. Throughout the whole time, body language is going to be really important. It's very subconscious, of course, but do some mock interviews if you can, and just try and get some feedback on your body language. We've all got habits. I have a claw hand that I swing around when I'm talking. Now you're going to notice this. But we all do, and just be aware of it. And if it's one that's really distracting, practice cooling that down. Practice not doing that. So people talk about, oh, don't have the hands like this, and, making eye contact, non-creepy amount of eye contact is really good. If in doubt, smile, because it's so subconscious, but we all like people who smile more than we like people who frown a lot. And I know that you'll be scared, and I know that I'm very intimidating, and recruiters are very intimidating, but just smile about it. Make me feel like you love talking to me, because if I feel like you like me, subconsciously, I'm going to like you. Humans are like that. You can trick me so easily like that. So smile. Good body language, big open posture, sitting up straight, paying a lot of attention, trying not to do things if you're conscious of like clearing your throat or jiggling your leg. That's a really awkward one, like jiggling the leg, shaking the table. My water bottle fell off, like it was terrible. But just be aware of it. Okay, who you are is as important as your abilities. So we talked about that. It's almost 50-50 sometimes when it comes to the personality and the temperament of the person that I'm talking to versus everything else that's in the application. Because we are in a creative industry with a lot of technical underpinnings. It is a business, and I'm looking for a business person, but it's also personal and a passion industry. We're probably going to go through hard times together, or you'll go through hard times with my client. I need to know if I'm going to like you, or I need to try and make a guess if you're going to be good for the team I'm going to put you in. So who you are is actually a huge part of it. So don't be afraid to bring in a lot of who you are into our conversation and into our interview, because that's what I'm looking for. That's what I'm going to try and dig up with my questions. That's why we have to meet in person or a video call on Skype. But even then, I would be very, very, very hesitant to make a hire if we haven't chatted in person. So I can get a sense of your presence. I mean, I'm not very good at humor, so that was a joke. But whatever. Okay, the interview is the opportunity to convince me. I need to know that you are competent and skilled. Like, can you actually do the stuff that you talked about? And are you going to be a good team fit? That's the two-factor thing. The structure for the interview process most of the time is that if you are coming to maybe work with me, I will have your application. I will look through everyone's applications. I will chuck out the not cool ones, and I will keep the cool ones, and I will do due diligence, which is like I will look into everything that you talked about. I will look you up online. Be mindful of that. I will call all your references. I will privately reach out to people that I think know you and get a read on you as well. Then if you're still cool, I will call you. I will have a little conversation. And I will probably, if something horrible hasn't happened, and if you haven't totally busted the situation up, I'll offer you an interview to come in to chat to me. Let's say if you're interviewing to join my team. And then if I really like you, after we've had this conversation, which is going to be massively about your personality a lot of the time, and what's important to you, and what motivates you, then I will bring in the rest of my team, and we'll have another conversation. And it's the same for a client, except we will often do the culture fit interview. Because I'll be like, I'm hiring for a programmer. I don't really know what makes someone a good programmer, not in detail anyway, but I will take a really good guess, and I will do all those first steps we talked about, and then I will bring you in for a culture fit interview. So I'll try and suss out whether or not you will suit this client, you will suit this team, and then I'll organise a technical interview as the next stage, and then they'll make the decision on you. So that's some insight. Cool. every interview is great practice for the dream job. We talked about it, okay. And ask 1 or 2 questions. At the end, I will ask you if you have questions. That is such a good opportunity to show me that you are really interested, really excited, or you have questions. Things like people ask me, out of 10, how happy would you say you are with your job? Which is a very assertive question to ask, but it's a good question to ask because you don't want to work for someone that hates their own job. Oh my gosh, you'll work under them and they already hate their job. Not good. But they might say, what's my 2-year plan? You can ask about me, you can ask about the interviewer, you can ask about some more detail on the client if I'm hiring for a client. You can start talking to me about salary or remuneration. If my job description doesn't mention the salary, you should bring it up. That might be a little bit of a test. I want to know that you are ready to negotiate for something that is good and fair, because I want to see that you will negotiate for what is good and fair for your team as well. So be ready to advocate for yourself, because that shows a big level of maturity. It shows a big level of interest and sincerity, and I'll appreciate that. But a lot of the time, I'll have a really nice conversation with someone, and their outfit was really cool, and we got along, and all their answers were good. And then I'm like, so do you have any questions? And they're like, nah. Awkward. So please have a couple of questions in mind. Specific ones. Nothing too weird, like where's the bathroom? Don't do that. But ask me useful questions. By the way, Liam, just wave frantically at me if we need to cut it, because I know we're running a bit behind. Hot tip, questions that I use. I've done all sorts of wacky things for clients or for hiring for my own team. I've gotten people to fill out D&D sheets because I want to know your temperament. Like, I want to know what you value, what you think you're good at. I can ask really stupid questions like, what kind of ice cream do you think you are? Just to see how they handle something that's a weird question. I ask questions like these. So aside from your salary, what are some good ways to reward you? For some, they'll be like, I'm not in it for anything but the money, and that's fine. If you're just motivated by that, no problem. But often, and especially for startups, we're looking for different ways to reward you too. Is it, I really want to go to talks, I would really like some training, I am looking for a formal mentorship program, or I really want to travel for business. Whatever it is, be honest. What annoyed you the most about your last workplace? This is not a trick, necessarily. People will fail and blow up on the weirdest questions, but this one's not a trick. I just want to know what annoys you. For me, it's chewing with your mouth open. Oh my gosh, don't do that. But also, as I said, I'm bad at humour, so I don't do well in a very sarcastic workplace, and that's okay. But what annoyed you? Was it open plan noise really didn't work for me, or I'm allergic to dogs and they ignored that and they have 10 dogs in the office? Like, whatever it is, I really want to know, because I want to know if I'm going to put you in a situation that's good for you or bad for you. What would your ideal manager be like? This is really important because your fit with your manager is probably the most crucial relationship that you'll have, especially when you're starting out. So what kind of a manager works for you? I might have an option of 5 really different managers to put you with, or different departments to put you with. I really want to know which ones you'll do well with, because we've all had bad managers, right? We've all had, well, I hope we've had good managers. This is where I'm like, hey, Meg, am I a good manager? But don't answer that. But yes, it's an important relationship. So being able to tell me what kind of manager you'd like to work with, really good, not a trick. How do you deal with stress? We all get stressed. That is so completely normal. Games, again, crunch, overtime. Meg and I have been working on the weekend, yay! But, we all go through stress, and I want to know how you deal with it. Do you just switch off at the end of the day and you kill a bunch of noobs in Destiny? Do you have interests outside of games? Like, do you like reading and film and cooking and whatever? Like, I want to know, are you a well-rounded person? Do you know how to deal with stress? Because if I'm putting you into a situation where, oh my gosh, the project is 2 months overdue and someone just got really sick or someone quit, so I'm actually going to put you in a stressful situation, I want to know that you're equipped to deal with that. Yep, what are your hobbies outside of work? please have some. Because I'd like to chat to you about cool stuff, like Pokemon and cute things. You've noticed that my presentation is very cute, like Sally's. But I want to get a sense that you're a well-rounded person, that you're not a workaholic, because they always burn out. I try not to hire them. I try not to hire people for workaholics either. And yeah, I want to get a sense of, oh, you know, this person really likes cooking, so do lots of people in the team, so that'll be nice. Or this person was an archaeologist, that's really cool, let's bring that into the team. Like, there'll be so many reasons why I want to understand more about you as a person. A lot of people are like, oh, I got this degree, so I've got this checkbox, and I've ticked everything, and so give job, please. And it doesn't quite work like that. Do's and don'ts. There's a whole bunch of these here, but do practice talking about why you're awesome in a way that is healthy and good and nice and fun. Celebrate yourself, be interested in yourself, know what's interesting about you. I understand that that can be really hard, but just practice. Share your happiness and your enthusiasm. Smiling, so good. It's a big part of when we do media training with clients, and it's a big part of when I'm doing interview training with people, job interview or otherwise. Show that you're happy. Everyone loves working with happy people. So find what you're happy about, why you're happy to be in the room with me, why you're happy to have the interview with me, and bring that out. Go beyond saying, I love games and a personal history of games. Oh my gosh, okay. So when I sit down for an interview with someone, I've probably got half an hour to 45 minutes for you max if it's the first round interview. If you want to spend 10 minutes telling me you love games and your first console was the SNES and you started, you know, this is what I picked in Pokemon Blue and I just really love Chrono Trigger, that's cool, but we really can't waste too much time talking about that. If you're in the room with me, you probably love games. You can pre-establish that. You can be like, we all love games here, or as you can see, I'm a game enthusiast because I do Magic the Gathering pre-releases and blah, 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 blah. But please don't give me a history about why you are the biggest fan of games ever, ever, ever. Because that is something that can be said about probably everyone I'm interviewing. I want to know what can only be said about you. So focus on that. Understand the company you're applying for. There is nothing I hate more than having a conversation with someone who looks really cool, and I'm like, so what games from Mighty Games have you played? And they're like, oh, I haven't? I'm like, are you kidding me? Seriously, that breaks my heart. I know it's hard when we all apply for 20 million jobs, and we've all applied for jobs without really looking what the job was for. But when you're in a passion industry where all the jobs are really competitive, and there'll be people that live and breathe the company that I'm hiring for, play the dang games. Please know what you're talking about when it comes to it. And if you can say, I love Shooty Skies, I love the shader system in that, and I loved that recent arcade update. Yes, you might be sucking up, but I will love it, okay? So please do that. Please know about the company that you're interviewing for. Have business cards on you at all times for real. I know Liam's got my back on this. Business cards are super important, even if you are a student. Don't see yourself as just a student. Don't even use student language to describe yourself. If you're an artist, you're an artist. I don't even care if you're a student artist. I don't care if you haven't had a paid job as an artist, but you are just an artist to me. Forget about the student chat about it, but just focus on what you are, and that means you can get a business card today. You don't need to put student artist on it. Some people might feel differently about this, but if you're a programmer, you're just a programmer to me. And that's not in a negative way. But you don't need the student preface. I don't need someone to give me something that might discourage me or make me feel like this person maybe isn't ready for a paid job. If you're an artist, you're an artist. Just stick to that. You can make a business card now. You don't need a business card only because you've got a paid job. You can have a contact card now. We are in a digital age, but I still really like a physical card because it means you'll come up more times in my life, because I go through my Rolodex really often. I don't Google you regularly, but I'll look through all my business cards regularly, and it's a physical artifact of you. It's that moment in time where you gave me the card and you told me my business card was awesome because it has Pokeballs, and yes, it is awesome. But it's a physical thing in a world where there's less and less physical. So business cards, super cheap. Please have one. We can do swapsies later, whatever you need. Come and see me during Games Week and we'll do a cool swap. My cards are beautiful. Don'ts. Don't disclose religion, age, marital or pregnancy status. This is in no way a judgment call, but it makes it very awkward if someone discloses any of these things to me in an application, because if I do give you an interview, that is grounds for bias. If I don't give you an interview, that's grounds for bias. And when I say that, in Australia, you can complain that I've discriminated in any of my hiring practices, and that could be basis for it, for or against you. So please don't disclose that, because you'll put me or the recruiter in a very awkward situation, and a lot of the time it means I have to just put your application aside entirely, because any kind of a case at all or the risk of could be really bad for the client depending on who the client is. So just don't talk about it, even if a whole bunch of the things are really cool. So just don't. Yeah, a lot of people put their age. Just don't put their age. Don't put a picture. It's not important. And if I'm looking up your LinkedIn, I'll probably see a picture of you anyway. Because again, that can be a grey area for some people. Don't keep using a non-professional looking email. darksexyangel2000@hotmail.com. Please don't do that. We've all got emails like that in our past. But just name.surname@gmail.com. That's my fave. @ymail.com, that's okay. Or a branded domain, that's also okay. But just make sure your email actually looks professional. If you don't, just get a Gmail. It's free. It's awesome. Don't rely on your application to do the selling for you. The interview will make that decision. Some people are like, well, you've read my resume, you know everything there is to do with me, so we don't even need to have this conversation. And I'm like, what? No. Dreadful. Don't do that. Or just like refer back to your resume or something, because if we're sitting down for an interview, I might have read 50,000 applications. I might not remember which year you graduated from which place, like in detail. So be really gracious and walk me through the application again. Be ready to summarize yourself again for me, because I might have read 20,000 things and I've forgotten it, and I'm sorry. Job leads, where can I find them? I recommend you just take a photo of this slide. I'm not going to go through all of it. And again, like I'll put this up somewhere, so that's all good. Talk to all these places, be aware of all these places. The biggest tip from this is creating a strategy and a habit when you're job hunting, and stick to it. We all know what it's like when you really want work. You want more work than you have. It's very time consuming, it's very emotional, it's very draining. Something that helps is to remember that job hunting is a business decision. It's not a personal decision. Even if your personality will contribute towards that business decision, I'm not making a personal call on you and saying you're garbage if you didn't get the job. It's a business decision, business to business. Learn how to build a tough skin about it, because you will apply for a lot of jobs that you won't get. I've applied for so many jobs that I haven't got, and it's a good learning experience, and it will help your maturity. But create a strategy when you are looking for a job. Agree with yourself that no, I will not download the new DLC for Dark Souls until I have applied to, I've spent 2 hours going through all this list of things that I'm talking about and made some inroads. Or I won't eat these Skittles until I have pinged a couple of people on LinkedIn that I'd like to buy coffee for. Those are all good incentives. Do it regularly. It's like going to the gym. You can't be like, oh my God, I'm going to lift this 100-kilogram thing. Whoa! Don't do that. You have to train. You have to do it regularly. Otherwise, you'll put pressure on yourself and die. Probably not. Nope, shouldn't have said that. General tips for job hunting. Again, have a look through this. I'm going to make sure I don't go overtime. Connect with your community in person and online. I think a lot of people are going to talk about, or have talked about, networking and how to do that in a healthy and productive way, in person and online. Get to know me as a person. And even if you offer me something first, like, hey, Lauren, your talk was awesome. Let me know if you ever need volunteers for the events you do event management for. I'll be like, why, thank you, wonderful and gracious person. Instead of like, hey, Lauren, the talk was really good. Here's my business card. Call me if you have a job. Bye. Don't do that. Like, please offer me something or give me an understanding of you first before you ask for something from me. That's something that really helps. If someone positions themselves in my life as someone who will help me first before they ask for something, so please do that. Have a presence online and don't be a butt. Meg talked about this. Twitter is awesome. Please get it. We have a lot of our conversations here and a lot of job leads are there. Volunteer and help out at events. I'm self-interested because I love to have amazing volunteers I can call on, but I help every one of my volunteers in turn. Like, I will write a recommendation for you, I will give you feedback on resumes, I will play test your game. Like, I will owe you a favor if you volunteer for me, and owing a favor to someone who is employed gainfully in an industry you want to be in is actually awesome. That sounds like so devious, but it's true. So make me owe you one. But by volunteering at events that I run, volunteer for Liam, volunteer for all of us. Thank and communicate with studios and creators you admire. A lot of job leads come out of, I really loved XYZ game, here's some written out feedback and here's some bug reports and here's a mod I made. Like, that's a really cool way to make a genuine connection with a studio and maybe get a job lead. I recommend creating a coffee budget and regularly reaching out to people to be like, I love where you are right now. I'd love to be where you are in 5 years. Could I just buy you a coffee and talk about how you got there? That is like so flattering. That's so lovely. And I would have that coffee with you. A lot of people would have that coffee with you. And if you want the ear of someone who is where you want to be or did something you think is cool, to get 20 minutes with them, the worst thing that they're going to do is not respond or say no or have to cancel. But they'll remember, oh, that was a really nice thing. That was a good compliment you gave me, and you're really gracious about it, and I appreciate that. So create a coffee budget and reach out. Like, as you can see from everyone who's been talking today, hopefully we're all lovely. We're all really happy to be giving our time to talk to you. We'd like to have conversations with a lot of you, so feel free to ask. At worst, we can't do it, but I'll remember that you were interested. And good luck, everyone. Job hunting is genuinely tough. Any job you've ever had, any study you've ever done, and any study or work that you will do is not a waste. We have hired people because they have backgrounds in history and maths teaching and all sorts of things because it made them a well-rounded person. So never regret something that gave something to you. It's what makes you an individual. I only want to hire individuals. Again, job hunting's like going to the gym. Please keep in touch with me. Please do not ask me for any favors until like mid-November, please. But you can ask me for favors. Again, the worst thing would be no, so feel free. If you want my email, you can ask for my business card. And if you want to ask for my business card, you'll have to see me at other events during Games Week, or my email is also in my Twitter bio. So you can ping me if you want some feedback on stuff. Be nice. And yeah, you guys are already doing a great job by being here. Like, compared to other students, I would still prefer all y'all to a lot of other students because you're here and you're engaged. And yeah, thanks so much.
Thank you so much, Lauren. Now, I know we